There is a rule even fools can see. Be unto others as you'd have them be. Even though we know that this is true, some of us don't see what it can do. Those are Tommy's words from a tune called Never in My Life. It's on one of the albums that TSS did that Joe was just talking about. I'm Buddy Thornton, in case some of you don't know me, but I've known Tommy for over 50 years. Some of you have known him much longer. And we could tell stories all afternoon. You probably want to hear music too. But Tommy and I lived together for a while in Macon. Actually, he and Ovi Sparks were sharing a house over on Oak Ridge. And I moved into the basement for a while, and then Ovi moved out, and I moved upstairs, and my family joined from Alabama. I had a 4-year-old son, 9-year-old daughter, excuse me. And I think they kept Tommy jumping for a while. We all lived together there in that house. And sometimes when I had to work at the studio, I worked down at Capricorn. That's where I met Tommy in 72, I think it was. But my daughter said that Tommy would entertain them by singing and playing the guitar and writing songs. And once I asked Tommy about where he got his ideas for songs, he was such a prolific songwriter, lyricist. And he said, well, I practice writing, or at least try to practice writing every day. And I'll give you an example. I walked by his bedroom once, and the door was open, and he's lying up in bed, and there's a little typewriter up on his lap. This is before laptops and internet, right? He's typing away on this little typewriter, and I walked back and said, Tommy, what are you writing today? And he pulled the page out and handed it to me, and there were pages all over the bed. And then he gave me another page, and I looked at it, and the title was A View of In Bed with a Typewriter. And it was basically him writing about himself in the third person. I have a copy of it on me, but it's too long to read right now. It's about a page and a half. But essentially, he was talking about the typewriter is his lover, and it likes to be touched, and there's no problem with language, and some of them are portable. So his lover was this typewriter in bed with him, right? And then over in the corner, there were all these whited up pages where he was throwing ideas, I guess, that he didn't like on the floor towards the garbage can. Can you imagine what kind of songs may have been whited up there on the floor? Probably some hits. But I never got a chance to look at those. But those are just some of the things I noticed with Tommy. Over the years, I worked with him on a lot of not a lot of records, but live gigs. He recorded, I was helping record the Allman Brothers and Sisters at the studio in Capricorn, and so was the other two engineers here, Ovi Sparks. Jim Hawkins was the first engineer down there, but either way, we were working on Brothers and Sisters. Tommy recorded acoustic guitar on one of the tracks on Brothers and Sisters. I think it was Pony Boy. And then on Greg Allman's Laid Back album, he and Cowboy were all over that album. Basically, they were the studio musicians. And then when Greg goes out and promotes the record on tour, I was the sound guy, and we were all over the place, but there were a 16-piece string section on stage. There were about 32 musicians, and at Carnegie Hall, there was a double album recorded. You should, if you haven't heard that, probably should give it a listen. It's really good, and you can hear a lot of Tommy's slide guitar playing on this fabulous live. But I got to know him while touring like that. And then around 76, I think, the Allman Brothers Band pretty much split up. Capricorn was on the way out. I left town and went to California for a while, and then kind of lost track of Tommy. But then I finally left the music business, moved to Melbourne, Florida. But Tommy, by that time, had gone to Europe. But I still got emails from him all the time, staying in touch. He would send me ideas for songs and pieces of songs, which I still have a lot of roughs he sent me that somebody may want someday. But we stayed in touch over the years, and he was a great friend. Tommy is a poet, a lyricist, songwriter, guitar player, singer, hell of a slide player, and I guess I would call him a modern day troubadour. That would be a name given to old 11th, 13th century poet, lyricists. Sometimes they had musical accompaniment. But I think Tommy fits the profile of a troubadour, and he truly was. But either way, at one time when I lived in Miami, he came there with a band called Snooks, and we recorded some tracks. I don't think the album ever was released, but is anyone from Snooks here today? John Tegedoff, maybe? No? Those guys were old friends of his from Central Florida as well, like Ovi Sparks, and either way, that's one of the last things I recorded with Tommy. I think I still have the masters somewhere. But anyway, it's so sad that I won't get to talk to him anymore about ideas for songs. Actually, he called me up a few weeks ago, before Christmas, actually, and told me I should work with Rick Hirsch on some of those tunes that Joe just described, some of the cuts that he did at the remodeled Capricorn, which sound pretty good, so you might be able to hear those soon. But either way, I'm going to miss him so much. He was just a really good friend, and I appreciate the fact that he trusted me to give him ideas and talk to him about the music that he has written over the years. It's incredible. But he called me up on Christmas Day, and he was still in the hospital. And he was kind of joking and laughing, and I'm sure he was probably had been given a lot of painkillers. And he was talking about some of these tunes that I was reviewing for Ricky and trying to get something released. But he said, "I don't know. I was just joking about some of that stuff. I didn't really mean that." So how do I interpret that? And so either way, and that's the last time I talked to him. He said, "Don't come see me in the hospital. I'm going home tomorrow." So I said, "Okay, Tommy." He said, I'll give you a call." But I never got that call because he was gone a couple of days later. So either way, so Patty and Kathleen, Tommy's whole family, I'm really going to miss him. He was a dear friend, and I'm so happy that I was part of his life, and he's part of mine. And I know a lot of road stories, but I better not tell all those right now. So I just appreciate you having me say a few words about Tommy, and I'll close with the song that I started with, the lyrics from Never in My Life. Oh, and by the way, thanks to Eddie and Terry and everybody for putting this celebration of Tommy's life together. So Tommy at the last of this tune, the last verse basically was saying, it was about friends. Thank you for coming, thank you for staying, and thank you for being here. Thank you.